So elevator pitches, it's a foundation to all sales. A 3-second elevator pitch, which I'm going to do for you right now, is by itself a sales presentation. So here it is. I'm Misty Henkel. I'm a sales trainer. I sell sales training. By itself, that is a sales presentation. Anyone could then come and ask me questions about that. If that was my presentation for a 10-minute talk, I could stop talking right there, and then I would end up with a huge amount of questions. Fiona, what's the first question that comes to mind when I say I sell sales training?
How much does it cost?
There you go. How much does it cost? Chrissy, what's another question you get?
How do I work with you?
Okay, there we go. Roger, what comes to mind? I'm a sales trainer. I sell sales training.
And
No, question. Question. Have you got a question? If it was a presentation, what's the next question you'd ask me?
I'd ask you certainly how much it costs and with logical questions. In other words, how much does it cost? How long is it going to take?
No.
I'd be concerned about that. When is it going to happen? I'd be concerned about the time, how to work it into what I want to do. And it goes on. There's a lot. I've been to so many sales training classes on so many products. And only real teacher and person who's been able to make it make sense and feel comfortable are you.
Excellent. Thank you. So notice that there's a lot of questions.
I'm 85 years old.
Yeah,
so
just so that everyone knows.
I've been doing this crap all
Been
my
around for a while.
life. You are the first person who's getting the job done.
Thank you. Thank you, Roger. So lots of questions would come. If you didn't need sales training, if you felt you were already salesman and you were doing it all right, you'd ask me questions like this. How long have you been doing it for? What sort of clients do you work with? You know, how fast do they get results? You know, do most people end up selling at the end of it? Like, it's going to be questions down that line. So that's a bit of a filter as to where someone's at. Like, I noticed that because that sort of says to me, based off the questions, it'll kind of tell you, are they heading towards being a customer, or are they heading towards promoting you? So they're one of those customers that promote. So we need two sorts of customers, those that buy and those that promote, right? We always like more that bought, but actually if we can get everyone to promote us, then we won't have to do as much of the work ourselves, right? So, and that's an elevator pitch, is about making it as simple as possible. Now from the, yep, no problems, Erica. Now from the, I'm a sales trainer and I teach sales training. From that, it all gets to expand. So from a 3-second pitch, it gets to expand out. Our notes are basically a 13-second elevator pitch, 15-second elevator pitch, nice and simple. But before we get started, I want you to know this. An elevator pitch is just an ad. It's not a sales pitch. It's just an ad. Right? So let's have a little bit of a discussion about the difference between an ad and a sales pitch. I want you to imagine that your business is a twin-engine plane, right? And now this is a difference between sales and marketing. We need sales and marketing in a business in order to sell and thrive, right? But knowing the difference between the two is important, because if you don't know the difference and if you mix them up as the same thing, then you're not going to do very well in business. So imagine that your business is a twin-engine plane. The right-hand engine is marketing and the left-hand engine is sales. Now, marketing very simply is just telling people what it is that you sell. It's an ad. If people don't know what you sell, they can't buy it. It's that simple. And it should run 24/7, right? You put a post up on Facebook, it's going to wander around the internet while you go to bed, right? If you tell people what you sell, right? And sales is asking people if they want to buy it, right? So it's asking if you want to buy it. McDonald's has the single greatest ad in regards to for their sales and marketing, right? Their marketing ad is this. It's a billboard on the side of the highway. So as you're driving from one town to the next town, there'll be a picture of the Golden Arches, which is their logo, and a picture of a hamburger. Don't worry about any words that are in the middle. Basically, it says, we sell hamburgers, right? I mean, it might say McOz is back in summer in Australia. McOz, Roger, is a burger with beetroot. And in Australia, that's our summertime. So, oh yeah, Roger, it rocks. I'm telling you, you want beetroot on hamburger. Right? So, right. And the actual words might say, the McOz is back. But ultimately, what we're looking at is McDonald's sells hamburgers, and that's the ad, right? And it sits there and it runs that ad 24/7. Now, what's interesting is based off that ad that they have run for over 40 years, they get more than 170 million clients a day. Notice I didn't say that they get more than 170 million clients a day that buy burgers. The interesting thing, that burger ad sells chicken nuggets, right? Because moms look at it and go, all right, then we'll make things really simple. What do you all want to eat? And the kids say chicken nuggets. I'll just see if they've got it on the menu. So they don't have to advertise everything on their menu. McDonald's doesn't have to advertise everything on their ad. One thing, one idea, right? Interestingly, the reason that they don't have the we sell chicken nuggets ad on their billboard is because if they did, they'd sell chicken nuggets. That's it, right? But burgers somehow equal chicken nuggets and fries and shakes and Coke and all the other stuff, right? I know that my boys used to say, I'd say, all right, it's Friday, I don't want to cook anything, so what are we going to have for dinner? The boys would say McDonald's, and I would say, I don't really want a burger. And I'd still go to McDonald's. All right, I'll have a burger, I'll get what they want, and I'll have a burger, and then I'll look at the menu and go, actually, I'll pick something else entirely, right? The burger gets us to the restaurant. That's the ad. At the restaurant, whether you go through the drive-through or into the restaurant, the kid at the counter says, what would you like to order? That's sales. They don't build rapport. They're not looking to be personable. They're not unfriendly. They're just getting to the point, but they're not looking to be personable. They're not building rapport. They're not marketing more. They're not asking, how did you get there? Did you see our ad? Did you drive past the highway? Are you looking for a McOz? They just say, what would you like to order? That's sales. They assume that the customer knows what they're doing, that some ad got them in. And the ad could have been the billboard. The ad could have been a friend giving them a suggestion. Some sort of ad got them in. But because of that billboard ad, other people start talking about it. Someone buys a burger. They go to work the next day and say, we had McDonald's last night. I should do that tonight instead of cooking dinner, right? So the ad starts working for them, or because they told people they sold burgers, right? So the rest of the world gets to promote McDonald's. Another great ad that McDonald's does. It's called their logo sitting on a stick above the building. We've all seen that, right? So we know where that is, particularly at night. It shines up nice and bright. Doesn't matter where you are in a city, you can see it, right? That ad is for children and people on motorbikes. And moms who have screaming children in the car going, I know you're here somewhere, you're here somewhere. Or travelers who are driving through town at night in the dark going, it's around here somewhere. That ad that they have never changed. They've never changed their logo. Not like KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken to KFC. They've never changed their logo. As a result, that ad sells to millions of customers, millions of millions, right? Never changed their ad. So the first thing I want you to know is you don't have to change your ad in order to be successful. Coke basically has never changed its ad. Coke is it. Still red and white. Santa is now red and white. Coke red and white, because Coke did an ad and painted Santa red and white. Apparently he used to be green and brown. There you go. But Coke took over and then he stayed red and white. So there you go. Coke's never changed. As a result, yeah, every now and then they get a few different other flavors, but as a result, they sell more soft drink than anyone else, or soda, as they say in America, than anyone else on the planet. Nike, just do it, never changed their ad, never changed their logo. As a result, they sell more sports gear than anyone else on the planet. My kids who don't play basketball, don't know anything about basketball, really don't know anything about sport at all, still know about Air Jordans. Don't know how. Don't know how. But for whatever reason, Michael Jordan hasn't even advertised the shoe in what, 20 years? My
Do
kids
they
are,
know it's related to a person? Or do
yeah.
they just think it's a little icon person and not a real human?
No, I just assume they know it's Michael Jordan. Like, honestly, I don't even know, Fiona. I have no idea how they know. And they're 15 and 13. And if Michael Jordan stopped playing basketball like 20 years ago and they're 15 and 13, and yet it's still filtered out that Air Jordans are the shoes to wear, right? So, you know, you don't have to change your ad. It remains the same, but it's kind of like, it's like the Mona Lisa. It's just good for all time, right? And it'll work for you. But then once a person comes to you, it's really just a matter of asking the question about them being with you, right? So, you know, do you want to buy that? All right. So if we have a look at our business and the airplane, right? Right-hand engine is marketing, left-hand engine is sales. So we've got an idea. Marketing is just an ad, very simple, very basic, one idea. It's advertising, that's it. And sales is, do you want to buy it? Now, if your plane is up in the air and the marketing ad goes down, you just, I don't know, stop posting on Facebook or stop writing something on LinkedIn or stop whatever it is, all the different areas. YouTube, emails, networking, just talking to people. If you stop all of that, your right-hand engine will break down. And if your right-hand engine stops and you are in the air, 100% of the time you will crash land. You will not be successful. You will crash and die, right? But if you do marketing all the time and never get to the point of asking, do you want to buy it, right? So don't learn the sales part, then your plane will crash land 100% of the time. A twin engine plane works with two engines running, not with one. Here's the interesting thing. Sales and marketing somewhere got smushed together. Think of the coaching ads that are, welcome aboard, Barbara. We're talking elevator pitches, right? So think of the coaching ads that you see on websites. And for the coaches in the room, you'll see it, you'll be taught this when you do your sales training through your coaching, whoever's teaching you coaching stuff, right? It's because coaches teach coaches how to sell. Quick question for anyone in the room. What are coaches really good at?
Not telling me the price.
Coaching, not marketing.
Coaching.
Yeah.
Thank you, Erica. I like what you're saying there, Fiona. Yes, true, right? And the reason they're not very good at telling you the price is because they're really good at coaching. And so to have a coach who's good at coaching to teach you sales, we can see how that's slightly off, right? I mean, it kind of makes sense that if a successful coach who can sell should be able to teach another coach how to be successful selling, but actually their job is coaching and they've just worked out the sales along the way, right? Sales trainer teaches you how to sell. Business coach doesn't necessarily teach you how to sell. You'll end up with more sales, but they'll actually teach you business, not sales. But the sales will happen along the way, right? But that would be like me. Let's say I wanted to learn to ballroom dance. And then I hired a dancer to teach me to ballroom dance. But a dancer isn't necessarily a ballroom dancer. In fact, a dancer isn't a ballroom dancer. They just know how to dance. They know music. They probably know how choreography. Paul Mercurio from Strictly Ballroom. Who remembers that movie, Strictly Ballroom? Turns out Paul Mercurio is not a ballroom dancer at all. He's a ballet dancer, though. Found this out. The short story is this. I had dinner with him. He cooked dinner for me, lots of people. But anyhow, and then, of course, he happened to say something about catching a taxi. And I said, well, I'll drive you back to the hotel. Why catch a taxi? And then I got him all to myself. And I got to ask a load of extra questions. But over the course of the night, found out that he's not a ballroom dancer. He's a ballet dancer. He knows dance. He knows choreography. He knows performance, looking great. But he doesn't know, after, 30 years later, he still doesn't know how to get a girl, get her out of a chair, do a turn, and give her a dip. Because that's not ballet. That's ballroom dancing. There's no point hiring Paul Mercurio to teach you how to ballroom dance. And he is one of the judges on Dancing with the Stars. So I got to ask the question, how's that work then? He said, oh, I judge on aesthetics. That's the bit I do. He said, we have a panel of 3 or 4 judges. He said, and we all judge something different. He said, I don't judge on the rules of ballroom dancing. That's not my area because I'm not a ballroom dancer. He said, but I am a performer. I have performed before. He said, so I can tell you if it looks good. I can tell you if the audience will find it pleasing. I can tell you where you stuffed up and where it all fell apart for the audience. I can tell you if you're showy, you know, and if you've got the right feeling coming out of the dance. He said, but I can't tell you if you've danced correctly. Okay, that's really cool to know, right? So he is a dancer. All right, how did we get there? Because we're talking sales, marketing. So it's all about the
coaches who are coaches, not coaches who are sales coaches.
That's right. Thank you, Fiona. So you got to hire the person that does the task that you need them to do, right? So when it comes to, so that's right. So we're going back to coaching is a great example, because coaches teach coaches how to sell. They tend to teach them how to, well, they teach them how to sell by putting a lot of copy explaining what coaching is and what you get from me and how that'll all work out. Who's seen those websites where they have a lot of sales through their marketing? That's the only way to describe it. Sales through marketing.
I've built that for people.
There you go, right? Sales through marketing. There you go. That's your twin engine plane where they've gone, wouldn't it just be cheaper and more effective if we just put one engine at the bottom of the plane and decided to fly that way? Not if you want to get it off the ground, right? Because sales through marketing is not that easy. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I mean, the Wright brothers worked out how to get one engine plane up in the air, I think. But, you know, it's just harder than the, right? So it does work. It's just harder. And hey, why market to this many people when the world is this big? That's like when I run classes, right? I teach people how to get more sales. That's what I teach, right? At the end of any training, I can ask anyone and say, who's selling now? And I'll say, what did you get most from class? Like, what's your biggest take home? Oh my God, confidence. You should teach that. What? You should sell that. What? Confidence in sales, because that's what I got. I'm so confident now and that it works and everything else. And I've gone, so I could sell confidence in sales. I'd sell to this many people. I said, but I sell how to get more sales because that many people want it, right? So you sell what they want. They'll end up, the result will be that other thing, right? That you'll all end up with, confident that you can do it, confident that people want it, confident that the price is fine and it's not a drama. You know, confident that you can talk to argumentative people and not lose your cool, right? So you'll end up confident on the other side. Just a result of learning to sell. For business, because I don't do business coaching, I don't do mindset coaching. People say, I think I've got a mindset issue. Okay. I think I'm scared of money and scared of success. Okay. So can you help me with that? Sure. I'll teach you to sell and then we'll have a look at that. And it's funny, those things tend to go away. It just seems like that's the problem. It's usually a sales problem because the sales component wasn't easy for somebody to get, right? I learned to sell through books, but that's because I was always going to be a salesman. That was my plan. Other people get the books, read the books, and don't read it the same way as me because that's not their plan. I have to be a salesman because I have to be a salesman, not because I want to be. So therefore, they read it differently. All right, and they don't know how to extract the stuff out. And that's when you need a sales trainer. All right, so if we have a look at, all right, what's our understanding so far? Quick show of hands. Anyone could sort of jump in and say something. What's our understanding so far about elevator pitches?
That they're an ad.
It's just an ad. That's exactly right. It's just an ad. We're not going to sell through it. We can't ask, you know, think of the coaching ads again. Right? 15 pages of copy and you're thinking, God, I don't need to read all of this. I'm just trying to find the button to find out how much the coaching costs. Right? If you're going to have a price and well, everyone has a price, you put the price right up the top. Let them touch the price button first. And if they don't understand the price to the thing, they'll read it. If the price wasn't like what they expected, here's the ironic thing. Let's say, all right, Tanya does coaching. If I press the coaching button and it said $20,000 for coaching, I'd end up reading the copy going, I wonder what that is. If it was $20 for coaching, I'd go, oh, I wonder what that is. If it's $250 for coaching, which is about, you know, what you'd expect, you go, either do I want it or not? Do I need to read the information? It doesn't really matter. The information's there for someone to read it, but it's not the sales pitch. The ad, it's not the ad, right? The sales through marketing becomes a sales pitch if the person needs extra help, which is as good as going to the salesman and asking questions. But at the very beginning, they need the ad, and the ad is the thing, coaching, and the price. All right, quick show of hands. So who noticed inside the elevator pitch guide, I had price in there. Very big on putting price in. Why would I suggest putting the price in?
Because it answers what people want to know right away.
Yep, 100%, 100%. You can't buy it if you don't know the price. Very few people go out and just buy stuff randomly without knowing the price.
And it helps them qualify or disqualify themselves.
That's right. That's right. Right? There's a reason why I charge $25, right? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is it's an experiment, right? It's an experiment. How many people actually want help for $25? How many people will swap a little bit of money for a little bit of help? Initially, when I first did it back in 2021, how many people can I help in 2021 for $20.21? Here was the experiment. Does anyone actually want help? And will they swap $20 for it? Honestly, didn't know the answer. I can think that they do because I love sales, right? And we all need to know it. Plus, how do you get a kid to vacuum the house without yelling at you? Well, you kind of need a few sales skills, right? If you're moving house, you want to sell everything in a garage sale, you need a few sales skills so that you can just get rid of the stuff without the drama of everybody haggling with you, right? So you just need a few skills, right? So I like it and I think everyone should have it, but I don't actually know if anyone else wants it or would pay for it or pay attention to it. The other reason I did it was, I'm around coaches all the time. I did diploma in life coaching. I know match charge. Like, I've done all of that too. So I'm curious, can I out earn a coach by charging $20? Turns out the answer is yes, people did want help, and yes, I can out earn a coach. So a coach who charges $5,000 per client, I can out earn you in 1 year because I will talk to more people and help more people. But here's what I've learned. Like, I did it in 2021, I did it in 2022. Had a 3-year gap, and then I've brought it back for the end of 2025. One, it was just really fun. It's getting close to the end of the year. And I suddenly remembered my youngest, well, he's still my youngest, but at the time he was 9 years old. And he said, Mum, can't you just charge everyone $25, not $20.22? I said, why? He said, because at $25, 4 customers equals $100. It's easy to count. I said, at $20.22, 5 customers is $100. That's easy to count. He says, it's not. It's $101.10, and it's really annoying to count. So could you just charge $25? Gone, not until 2025. It just doesn't fit in. And then I forgot all about it, and I've only just remembered, so I get to pull out that experiment. But what I've also found out is this, is that, and this is with COVID being kind of finished now, in that everybody's allowed out in the world to wander around freely and all that other stuff, right? Is that along the way, everybody who sells their things at whatever their prices are, is a lot of times people, well, God invented humans with problem-solving abilities. Basically, he gave us a superpower. It's called solving problems, right? We don't necessarily like having problems, but personally, the body, the person likes solving problems. If we didn't have problems to solve, well, apparently we'd be bored. And this is why customers invent problems out of nothing. If I said to you, Erica, how much does it cost for coaching with you? Can you just give me a price?
Yeah, it's $250 an hour.
Right, $250. $250? Do you think I'm made out of money? Now, that's a typical customer response, it's negative, it's angry, it's a bit over the top. That's a typical customer response, right? Notice the customer first asks, how much is it? Erica says $250. Now I've gone over the top. What I've done from her answer is just create a problem out of literally nothing. And we do that because that's actually the body feeds off solving problems. Traditional sales training would teach the salesman when a customer gets a bit over the top, that's a problem and your problem to fix. But actually, since the customer just invented the problem, it's their problem and their problem to fix, right? And we get to learn that along the way. How do we deal with that? I mean, the quick answer is this, and this is the answer I'll say all the time. If someone gets outrageous about your price, one is it's a good thing. It means they're listening to you. You can't sell to a person who's not listening to you. So if they're not negative, they're not listening. So when a customer is negative towards anything that you say, you get to go, ha, chalk you up for over 50% across the line because you're now listening to me. Perfect, right? And then the secret becomes not to argue with them. Customer says, $250, what do you think I've made out of money? Most people pay with Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. We just give them the rules of the sale. Can I have a discount? No. Why not? Don't do discounts. Why not? What if I bring in 10 friends? No. What if I buy 10? 10. If I buy a bank of 10 coaching sessions, can I have a discount? No. Well, I know other people that do discounts. You should go with them. Oh my God, that sounds amazing. I'll be your plan B, right? So there are lines and we learn them along the way, right? So there are different lines, but there's only like 7 for every single thing that a customer can say to you, right? And they've got plenty to say, but there's only like 7 lines that covers all of it. So it's just a matter. The reason I can do it so easily is because I know the 7. I've memorized the 7 and I use them all the time, right? But ultimately, what I'm doing is I'm just displaying the rules of the sale with you, right? Reason we don't discount is because, so we put the price in because the customer can't buy without the price. There's only like 3 things on the planet that we'll buy without the price. Petrol, fuel for your car, gas, whatever it might be, right? Right? If you go into a gas station or a petrol station or whatever, and you need to fill your car up, if there's no prices up there on the board for whatever reason, if you're one of those that looks, I don't, when I need to fill it up, I just stop and fill up. My mum says, do you know how much you paid? No, I got no idea, Mum. I've got no fuel. It makes no difference at this point. Right? Just wherever it is, you just fill the car up and keep going. I figure, you know, what's the difference? $2? Oh, but it adds up over the course of the year. It makes no difference to me, Mum. Like, just fill the car up. The people are nice at the place. Sometimes I buy a chocolate bar. Sometimes I don't. And, you know, we spend money on dumb stuff all the time. The really good stuff, you should probably just spend the money and not worry. But fuel, if there's no prices there and you need it, you're not leaving without it. So you'll buy fuel without looking at the price. The other 2 things I've pinned down to a supermarket. You'll complain that the supermarket, and it's usually something that's on the bottom shelf and it's big and it's bulky and the prices come off. You will complain that the supermarket couldn't do their job properly, but you won't live without it. Toilet paper is one. Dog food, turns out, is going to be the other one. The reason I don't say cat food is because you tend not to buy cat food in like 10-kilo lots. It's not right down the bottom, right? But dog food, big bags, right down the bottom. The price is usually never there. It's really annoying. But there is no way in the world, if you have a dog, you are going to leave and starve it to death. And you're not going to swap its food for a steak. Right? So you're going to live with that, but you'll complain that the shop couldn't do their job properly, but you won't blame the dog, you won't blame the dog food, you blame the shop. Everything else, if the price has fallen off or the price isn't there or you don't believe what the price is, you won't buy. Right? Even if you know what it is, but the price isn't sitting there, you'll have trouble buying it. Right? So price does help a person choose. Quick show of hands. Who's ever gone to the supermarket before to do the groceries? Just put your hand up, right? Any amount of groceries? Excellent. All right, put your hand up. Now, it's a long one. Put your hand up if you've ever gone in to buy one thing, we'll call it milk, and that's the only thing you're getting. You're not buying anything else, but you're left with a grocery bag full of stuff costing $30 to $50. All right, we've all done that, right? Now, how does that happen? because the stuff sat silently on the shelf with their price and you, the customer, bought it.
Mm.
The real
Especially if it's on sale.
That's right. That's exactly right. Right. The real secret to selling is not how to sell, but just to just follow the instructions or the rules of how people buy. If you buy by looking at the thing on the shelf with the price and then you make an informed decision by yourself without someone chatting to you, then every other person does the same thing. Humans aren't unique. Like, we do all the same things, right? We feel unique. And I'm sure that there's some unique things about us, but mostly we all just do exactly the same thing, probably different times in our lives, but we all just end up doing the same thing. There's not a problem that's never been solved, right? Some problems are harder than others, but we've all done the same thing. It's all happened in the past. So if you've bought something at the store without a salesman chatting to you and without a person chatting to you, oh, here's one. Show of hands. Who finds it really easy to do the grocery shopping, the full grocery shopping, with someone else with you, talking and giving you ideas? Yeah, I know, weird, isn't it? So you mean to say that it's far easier to do the grocery shopping by yourself without a salesman chatting to you the whole time? Isn't that interesting? Right? The ad will work by itself. Right? You go down an aisle, any aisle to go get the milk, because it's always down the back, right? I always pick the chocolate aisle. But I mean, you can go down any aisle, and chances are you'll go down that aisle on the way back because you will have talked yourself into it. Just seeing something on the shelf, that's enough. That's the ad, right? That's the billboard on the side of the highway. That's the McDonald's we sell hamburgers ad, right? You've walked past and gone, double-coated Tim Tams. That'd be good with a cup of tea. You go down, you get the milk, and you go, might just go back and just double check that price. And you'll talk yourself into it on the way. But you might look at it and go, they're on special. And now you've talked yourself into how many packets you're buying before you leave. 1 or 2, right? And then how long will it take for me to finish that? When will I be back next? And will I be back before they go back to full price on Wednesday, right? So see all these things. Why? Because the billboard was sitting right there. The thing was just showing us what was available. And now our idea has been picked, right? So that's as easy as our elevator pitch needs to be. All right. So the secret is, don't be frightened to say the price, though, because without the price, they can't buy it. Here's what happens. Let's say, hands up those who go networking. So Erica, I don't know. Do you go networking at all? Do you do elevator pitches, go
Not
networking?
so far, no.
Not yet?
It's very
Okay.
valuable for me.
Okay. All right. So at a networking event, most networking events, you get a chance to do an elevator pitch. Right? So business at breakfast, you say it in front of everybody. Some other ones, you might go into a little breakout room and do it. An elevator pitch is just telling people what you sell. And I always say the price needs to go in it. So the notes, which I'll send you the notes in case Tanya hasn't. So, so the elevator pitch is say what it is, say the price, and then say who buys it, right? Always say sell the price. This is what can happen at a networking event when you say your price. Right? If I say to Roger, how much is it for a mold kill and removal kit?
$2,000.
$2,000, right? Now, Roger can be at a networking event and says, I sell a mold kill and removal kit, costs $2,000. The people who buy it have mold in their house. Someone could go up to Roger and say, Roger, don't say the price. Don't say the price. Don't ever say the price. Roger can ask this. Why not? It's not a secret. And that becomes your answer. Because if they know the price, they won't buy it. Roger can say if they don't know the price, they can't buy it. Right? Customers, your elevator pitch, write this down. It's an ad. It is not a sales pitch. Right? If it's an ad, the customer has to see it a number of times before they choose to buy. We're not selling at the customer. We're just telling them what it is. Who's been to those networking events where they say, we're going to put you into a breakout room for you to do your elevator pitches, but you are not to sell and you are not to recruit while you're in there? Who's been to those ones, right? And then everybody gets anxious about what they're supposed to say, right? And then I get in there and I say, so I'm a sales trainer, I sell sales trainer, it starts at $25, right? And then someone else will come in, Chrissy might come in and she says, I do time management and I'm a time management coach and I help people with time, blah, blah, blah. What's the first question I'm going to ask her when she finishes that pitch?
How much does it cost?
How much does that cost, right? Because without the price, I can't put the whole thing into context. Might be something I want or I need to pass on to someone else, right?
Mm.
Christy could turn around and say, because she's been indoctrinated into that you can't sell and you can't recruit thing, she's like, oh, no, I'm not supposed to be selling, so I can't really tell you. No, it's an ad. You can tell me the price. Selling is this, right? If I said, I sell a book, it's called Overcoming Obscurity. Everyone get out your credit card because I'm going to sell it to you right now. Put your email address in the thing. I'm going to send you all an invoice and I'm going to send this out in the post right now. That's selling. Never been in a breakout room, never been at a networking event where somebody said that. Give me all your bank details because I'm going to sell you a book like right now. Never been there, done that. Recruiting is for network marketing, right? That's the message for network marketers is you're not allowed to recruit. So then I ask a network marketer, you know, like, what do you sell? Let's say it's Nutriomedics, right? Excellent. You know, what is it? Is it makeup, skincare? Yes. Okay. And do you help other people get a job? Oh, no, I'm not supposed to be recruiting. I'm not switching jobs. You're not recruiting me. It's just an ad. If you help people start a business in a box, it's just an ad. How much does that cost? Recruiting is this. Fiona, I'd like you, I know that you love websites and everything, but honestly, I need a couple of salesmen to go out and sell all my sales training. So if you could just quit your job and work for me, I'm not going to pay you, by the way. I'm not even going to give you a commission, but you'll love what I do so much. You can come to class, I suppose. But, you know, I just want you to quit your job and work for me. You want to do that? Shit, I could give her a wage. I'll give you, I don't know, whatever it is, half of all the sales that I get is all going to you, Fiona. If you just quit your job and work for me. That's recruiting. Again, never seen anyone do that at a networking event either. Right? Erica.
I'd love to know, Misty, and please tell me if this is for another class. It's totally okay. But I've been told so many times not to sell the price, to first book in a discovery call so that you can match the person to whichever product suits them best.
Yep.
Or in a networking situation to book a coffee chat and then work out the package price for that person. I'd love to know your insights on that.
Excellent. So I believe that once you've learned how to do what you do, and you only have to had 1 day of training more than the average person, and you've already learned something more than someone else. I know my first day of coaching was above the line and below the line thinking. So being a victim versus being responsible. You choosing that your life is your fault, not someone else's to blame, right? That was so profound to me that I've gone, I just switched who I was. Didn't realize how much I complained until I decided, well, I can't complain anymore, right? All of a sudden, from that one class, I've gone, turns out I know a bit more about life than the average person now. So technically, I'm more trained than anyone else that I'd ever met. So why should I give a free discovery call when I could charge an initial consult? Doctors charge consults. If you have a sore throat, they don't say, if you've got a sore throat, why don't you book in for a discovery call and we see if you really do have a sore throat? They say, book in for an initial consult, we'll check that out.
And it's usually more expensive.
So, right, and it's $81. Like in Australia, we're starting at $81, right? Roger starts at $400, like over to America. So, but yeah, so you're going to make a solid decision. Do I have a sore throat? If you call up the doctor's office, right? See, doctors aren't taught to sell. Doctors are taught to do their job. So they don't have other doctors that teach them how to sell. They just literally leave that component out entirely. So who sells for them? The receptionist. The receptionist is taught to sell, not the doctor. So when coaches teach coaches how to sell, they're like doctors of people's lives. But then they've decided to teach sales to another doctor of people's lives. But they don't actually, that's not their job to learn. That would be the receptionist's job. Oh, sorry, that's not their job to teach, because that would be the receptionist's job to just be able to do it. Why is it that tradesmen electricians, plumbers, builders. Why is it across the world they are so bad at admin? Because they're not taught to do it. They're taught to look after a building, do whatever their trade is. And they probably get a 5-second class on admin. In that, you'll have to do invoices and send that out. But actually, that's poor training. They're not supposed to do that. Doctors aren't taught you'll have to send out invoices. You'll have to charge customers. Doctors are just taught to be a doctor. And then the system is, it's a 2-person job. Someone does admin, going to answer the phone, booking the schedule, and do all that. Technically, tradesmen are the same, except that, I don't know, they got a 5-second class that said you'll have to do invoices and quotes. They're not supposed to, unless they deliberately learn how to do it. From someone who does invoicing, but not a tradesman, right? It's got to be an invoicing specialist, an account specialist, someone over there, right? So discovery calls, I understand why coaches teach it, right? Is because they didn't know any other way. And since they end up with clients, they think it's a discovery call that ends up doing the whole thing. I'll bet, Erica, that you've probably done some discovery calls only to find that what was supposed to be 15 minutes took an hour and a half. You gave the customer all the learnings, only to find that you now couldn't work out how to book them in to become a client. They paid for nothing. And then when they left you, they clearly didn't like a single thing that you said, even though they said you were amazing, because they didn't tell anyone about you. And then they didn't do anything that you told them to do. Now, here's why that happens, is because they thought they were getting a 15-minute discovery call too, more along the lines of discovering. They're looking to discover, can you help me solve my problem? Not, can you stop everything and solve my problem now in the next hour and a half when I don't have a pen and haven't written anything down. That's why they can't follow your instructions at the other side. The other reason they can't follow your instructions, even if they had a pen, is they're too embarrassed because you gave it to them when they weren't ready for it. They were possibly prepared to pay for it. They hadn't expected it to be so profound, and now they're too embarrassed to use the information. Because if somebody says, wow, you've made all these changes, you're amazing, how did that happen? I spoke to Erica. How much did that cost? Well, I went to pay for coaching, but she ended up just helping me out on the phone for an hour and a half. And I don't know. And now, of course, now that's a bad ad for you. Well, if I want to get coaching from Erica, how much would it cost? I don't know. Would she just help me if I called her up on the phone? I don't know. Could she help me the same way she helped you? I don't know. Bad ad, really bad ad, right? So discovery call, once you've learned something, you've earned the right to push them into an initial consult. Here's my recommendation. Well, actually, here's where it starts, particularly for coaches. Initial consults start at $25. That's it. It's not $75. It's not $100. It's not $100. It's $25. Does anyone want to have a guess why 25 works so well? Now, one is it's a good marketing thing. 2025 for $25. Someone says, why is it $25? Because it's the year 2025. And I thought I'd just see how many people I can help. But another reason for $25, it's a low amount. What is it about $25? It wouldn't matter if it's 26 or 27 next year, whatever. Anyone want to tell me why 25 is so good?
A bit of a no-brainer, and it's half of 50.
Okay, those are good guesses. I'm going to go with the no-brainer. It's not that people with no brains decide to do it. It's just that it's really hard to say no to help for $25. Right?
That's true.
I haven't talked to Erica yet about joining class, but when I tell her it's $25 to join class, but you need the book, so it's going to be $25 for the books and $50, right? It's going to be hard for Eric to say, no, I want to join class, right?
It's very hard to say, I can't afford that.
It's really hard, right? But here's the interesting thing, right? People won't say, I can't afford it. Like if I say it's $25 to join class, so, well, it's $50, right? 25 to join class, 25 to have all the books, right? So it's $50 to join class. It's very hard to say no, right? And Erica would never say, I don't have the money for that. She'd probably say, I'm not sure that I want to learn it, right? And that's the cool thing about such a low price is it's hard to say, no, I don't want the help. But then you have to make a decision of, do I really want the help? I mean, the money is so little. So you do initial consult for, instead of a discovery call, an initial consult for $25 for coaching. And someone says, no, no, thanks. I really don't want the help. And now you know where they sit. You've qualified them, so have they. I really like complaining about my drama, but I don't really want help for it. Before I had the excuse of I couldn't get any help because they were charging, $250. I couldn't get any help. I can help you for 25. Turns out I don't want the help. Okay, perfect. Now you know where you sit. And interestingly, for free, they got all the information they needed about themselves. You've technically helped them. It's great. At that point, and it's funny, I've done it before where someone's gone, you should probably just send me a bill for $25 then, because you've just answered all my questions. I don't want help. Give me a bill for $25 and I'll go do something else. Done. Isn't that interesting? Right? It's amazing what can come out of that. So, but the secret to learning to sell is learning to swap a bit of knowledge for a bit of money. And as you get busy, you get to put the bit of money up to something higher. Yes, Fiona.
I've heard all sorts of not so founded things on price anchoring. If the price is low on the first thing, they won't buy the expensive thing later. How do I go from a $25 initial consult to a $10,000 website?
Okay,
Clearly,
here it
there's
is.
more stuff in the $10,000 website than a chat. Right?
Yep, here it is, right? And here's the funny thing about the $25, right, is they'll actually pay you to advertise yourself to them. It's an initial consult, but really it's them paying you to advertise yourself. All right, here's it is. I'll pretend I'm Fiona, right? I'm going to play both parts. I'm going to be Fiona and the customer. All right. So, hey, Fiona, I just want to know how much it costs for, getting website done. Or can I ask you some questions about websites? Yes, no problems. I don't even know if I want one. Yep, no problems at all. $25. Why don't I book you in for initial consult? All right, no problems. So, Fiona, I've got no money and I don't want to do this and I don't want a website and I don't want all this other stuff and blah, 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 but I want all of these customers and I want these sales and I'm going to start this coaching thing over here and I'm going to do all this other stuff, right? At the end, you could say, so to work with me, so based off all of that, I've heard everything what you say, to work with me, it'll cost you $10,000 to get a website. Yeah, I don't have money to do that. Most people pay with a Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. Yeah, but I really don't want a website. Yep, no problems. Nobody does. Let them go. Here's what I want you to know. Write this down. It's really important. Out of sight doesn't equal out of mind. It's only out of sight. Back in the olden days was before Google, right? Back in the olden days, you had to sell to the customer when they were in front of you. So all the sales tricks came out, the features, the benefits, the talk over the top of them, let me go back and explain the price again. Oh, it's an investment. It's not a cost, right? In today's world, these are just tricks that were put together by a salesman who had to sell instantly. Now, why did a salesman have to sell instantly? Here's why. These things didn't exist. Yeah. Because these things exist, we know who the customer is. We know how to get hold of them again. If they found us and they called us, we have their number, right? Back in the olden days, it's kind of like working at a furniture shop, right? If you don't sell all the furniture to the person who's walked into the store today, you may never get that chance again, right? Let's say Barbara walked into the furniture shop and she said, I'm looking to furnish my whole entire house. If I give her a quote to leave at the end, Barbara loved me, I can tell you, whoever she gives that quote to the next time she comes in, they'll get the sale. Even if she says, hey, I was speaking to Missy and this is the quote that she gave me, I can nearly 100% of the time guarantee I won't get the sale. Because that salesman will go, oh, there's an easy one. Sometimes they do it, or it might be, okay, let's just go around and double check everything. Barbara will change one thing, but because, that person spent time with her and walked around with her again, whose sale is it? But here's the truth. The sale belongs to the person, the last person the customer ended up with. Why did she not come back to me? Maybe I wasn't on that day. But here's the question. Why did I not get her across the line before she left? And that's really what it comes down to, right?
So hence the pressure to overcome objections because you need it now and the desperate hunt to pin them down and steal their credit card.
Yeah, that's right. So there's a reason. So when salesmen say to me all the time, and when I speak to sales managers, And I'll always ask the question, okay, so you have all these sales staff. How do you cope with, but that was my sale? Who ends up with it? Sales manager always says the person that they spoke to first. Okay. Why? And they've gone, because they spoke to him first for like, half a day. The second person spoke for half a day. So now, and you can't cut it in half, right? And I said, but it's not the salesman yet to pick who the sale came, who the sale belongs to. The customer picks. There's a reason why the customer didn't buy with the first person. And the reason isn't because they really didn't have the money until Thursday. That's what the customer said. But there's something that the first salesman didn't do, couldn't do, wasn't skilled enough to do for that to be placed in the first place. Sometimes that is the real reason. They have no money until Thursday, right? But when you work in a place where the customer is free to come and go, as a salesman, that's part of the job. If you can't complete it today, you don't get it tomorrow. That's the job. It's like a barmaid, right? Sell as much as you can to the person who's in the place now, because they may never come back tomorrow. You may not get to serve them. So just do it now. Get it done, right? But for the rest of us, for these entrepreneurs, we have these things. So we don't have to sell to them today because we have all their contact details, right? So Fiona, it all comes down to follow-up. Follow-up comes down to other classes. But for those who want to read the notes, chapter 5 in Overcoming Obscurity and chapter 5, as it turns out, in How to Go from No Sales to Sales. 2 different ways to follow up. But basically, that's the beginning of your follow-up instruction, right? Salesmen traditionally were taught to be lazy in their follow-up. Their sales class was this. It's really important to follow up because, the fortune is in the follow-up. That's the answer, right? It's not very good training because then they weren't taught how to do it. Oh, how do you do it? You just keep calling them until they answer the phone and then you follow it up with them properly. Most people, this is why follow-up is just wondering how you went with that quote that I gave you or the conversation we had. That's a terrible follow-up, right? We're not getting into follow-up today, but ultimately, you can let a customer go. Everything can be fixed in the follow-up because we have their contact details. Question becomes this, right? Let's say, Fiona, you've looked at chatting to someone who's got like $10,000 for a website. You did the $25. So did that answer your question? You got a $25 initial consult. Inside of that, doctors do it all the time. I have a sore throat. All right. It's going to cost me $81 for him to look at. I go in and say, I was at a concert last night. I was drinking a bit and I probably vomited and I was screaming and yelling Pink's name. And, so basically I think I've scratched my throat. If the doctor looks in my throat and goes, oh, have you ever had tonsillitis before? No. Wow, there's some stuff going on in there. I don't even think it's an infection. I tell you what, I'm going to send you off for some blood tests and get an ultrasound done because I'm really sure not what's going on there. The doctor has now given me a solution moving forward that's going to cost me hundreds of dollars. Now, what's going to happen is when those blood tests are back and the ultrasound is back, I'm going to come back to me, I'm going to have a look at those results, and then I'm probably going to send you to a specialist. So the doctor's telling me, I can't even read those reports, but I'll charge you $81 to tell you that. And then I'm going to give you a referral for hundreds of dollars while you go see a throat specialist because I can't help you. And you know what I do? I just follow his instructions. He'll just up the price and up the price and up the price for me, right? So doctors do it all the time, Fiona. All right, they give the customer the information and then they leave the customer with the information and get on with their day. And the reason why they're not concerned about that customer and whether or not they book in again is because they have 8 more customers to deal with today. Here's a reason why people get all caught up with the whole, and I'll use Fiona as the example, although it's not necessarily how she does it. I know she does it now, but this is traditionally how it works, right? Customer comes in, pays $25 for initial consult. Fiona says $10,000 for the thing. Person says, I don't know that I want that. And then Fiona spends the next 4 months following up with that person. Then comes to me and says, my God, I've just wasted 4 months of my life following up with someone who's not buying. 4 months is what, 160 days? What have you done with the other 159, Fiona? I would expect in 159 other days you spoke to 159 other people. Fiona said, no, I was just concentrating on that one. I can see why it's such a problem for you, right? Don't worry about the one that's not buying because you have to talk to another person tomorrow and another person tomorrow. And ironically, the 25s add up, right? So 25s, if we look at 25 times 160 days, that's $4,000 worth of consults. Someone's going to buy inside that. There's 160 people sitting right there, right? Sometimes those consults, not even 160 people. Chances are someone's going to be looking for another one and another one and another one until they step themselves. They're basically paying you to talk themselves into getting the website. They're paying you to talk themselves into it. It's a kind of cool system, right? All right. What are we getting from today's class? Fiona, what's your take home from today?
Being paid to talk about stuff, or being paid to listen to them talk about stuff.
I know, right? It's like getting paid for a one-to-one. They'll pay, and then you don't have to, you'll find out about them because it'll be in context of websites. But technically, you're not there to, they're there to talk themselves into something, but you're there to, it's like getting paid for a one-to-one. And then they go tell everyone how amazing you are at the other side. Yeah. So, yeah, consult's good. Roger, what's your take home from today?
Buyers buy.
Buyers buy.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Look, you can't convince someone who doesn't want to buy to buy, and you can't convince someone who wants to buy to not do it. And I don't care how good a salesman you are, right? Look, salesmen can talk people into buying now. I can do it. I learned how to do it. It was part of my initial training. But here's the thing. We all end up with buyer's remorse. Customers end up with buyer's remorse. Who's been at those webinars or seminars where they've gone, my God, I'm so excited to be at this class. Like, it's cost me money to be here, even if it's free. And I'm so excited. I'm going to write all these notes, and I'm not going to buy anything because I'm just going to write really good notes, and I'm going to put it into play because I've been following this guy and I know that I can write really good notes. It's going to give me heaps of stuff. And then you turn up, and the whole time you're going, but I wonder what he's going to sell at the end. I wonder what he's going to sell at the end. I wonder what he's going to sell at the end. I wonder what the discount's going to be, but I'm not going to buy it. And then it gets to the end. He tells you exactly what it is and how much the discount is, and you're going, damn it, I'm going to have to buy it because I didn't write the notes. I was too busy worrying about what they were going to sell me. Tell you what I very rarely do. I run free things with the whole idea of getting people into sales afterwards, and then I don't sell anything at the end. But as it turns out, I don't have to because I know where you live. I know how to get hold of you. And I can call you for a follow-up. So I can run free classes all day long and then send you a message at the end. Oh my God, I forgot to ask what your take home was. What was the top thing that you got from that class that I ran? Oh my God, you're the most amazing person on the planet. Hey, we should have a one-to-one and you can tell me more about what you're doing. Yes, I do it for free. I'm asking them. I'll do it for free, right? And then they'll buy. I just needed the list of the people that were interested in the first place. Right? So there you go, Erica. You know exactly what my setup is. Erica's turned up today because Tanya said, hey, come on out and I'll just sort it out with Misty, come to the class, right? I can write to Erica at the end and say, what'd you like most about the class? Besides whatever it is she tells me, what'd you like most? Because I'm asking what the take home is here. What did you like most? Erica's going to say something. And then I'll turn around and say, hey, we should have a one-to-one. And then I'll just find out. You want to join class or not? If she hasn't already decided to do it. And I'm telling her that's exactly what the method is. When I turn around and do it, she'll be powerless to stop me. Yeah, I'm not going to join class. I can beat Misty. No, I can't. Right? Why? Because I was just really nice about it and I was just really nice, right? So you have to be salesy. You just have to turn up and chat. Customer does all the work. Salesman doesn't have to do anything, right? You just get to be nice. Erica, what'd you get from today's class?
Oh, so much. There's so many things in my notebook, but specifically, I really appreciated you answering my question and love the idea of charging for an initial consult. That really lands well in my body. That feels good to me because often I have sold off the back of, well, all of my clients have come off the back of doing a pro bono and they've gone, I really enjoyed this session. How can I work with you? But the idea of charging $25 for an initial consult is like, I value my time. You need to value my time and my knowledge. And
Here's the ironic thing. I hear what you're saying, right? Now, I know that it's not salesman that taught, not salesman that. I value my knowledge and you need to value my knowledge, so therefore I need to charge. No, the customer isn't there with that at all. They're going, I valued you. You just didn't give me a price. I valued you at the very beginning. That's why I went and asked you the question. I already considered you valuable. You were the one that mucked it up, right? So I have someone who's, but this could be anyone who goes to uni. Actually, I'll pick anyone that goes to uni. I'll pick an accountant, right? Initial years of accountancy, right? Someone says, I'm tired of my friends getting me to do their accounts for nothing. Did you tell them a price that you charge? No. Then how are they supposed to guess? Well, it'd be nice if they just offered something. What are they supposed to offer? They don't know what's high or low. They don't know a ballpark. You've given them nothing to go on. They might want to get you flowers, but maybe you don't like flowers. They want to get you a bottle of wine, but maybe you don't drink. Like, what are they supposed to give you? You didn't give them anything. And I'll tell you why you didn't give anything. Because I ask uni students all the time, right? I understand that you're upset that the customer didn't pay you anything and they got your time for free. But that's because you weren't taught. There was no class that teaches you how to swap your knowledge for money. The class isn't there, right? If you think of the discovery session, they're not teaching you to swap your information for money. They're just teaching you to turn up and help, right? Coaches are taught the all or nothing method. Charge $5,000 or do it pro bono. So charge full amount or charge nothing. And somehow that ends up with customers. It really doesn't. It does nothing to teach you sales. It makes you very anxious, right? I'm a coach. I was in that world. If you're not allowed to charge less than 150, this was going back 10 years ago. Now it's probably not allowed to charge less than 250. It will upset the value of the coaching system across the world. Rubbish. My price does nothing to upset anybody, except for maybe people around me, but the rest of the world may not be aware of it, right? You can't upset it. Artists can sell art. My boys used to sell art for 50 cents. Other artists sell art for $50,000. It doesn't look much different. In fact, my boys' art tends to look better than paint slapped on a thing. Now, how does an artist sell it at $50,000? Basically, they put their piece of art up, they write $50,000 on it, and they stand there until someone gives them the money, and they don't budge. And that's how they sell art for $50,000. They just don't budge. And now we understand the rules of the sale. And that's the only thing, right? So it's really not, and I understand what you're saying, but it's really not about them valuing you. The bit that the person, the entrepreneur, the salesman, the coach was never taught was the customer already valued you, or they wouldn't have been talking to you in the first place. It was you that mucked the whole system up. And that's really where sales is products and services sell themselves, and we salesmen break the entire system and then blame the customer for our outcome. That's okay, I'm going to fix that in classes, right? Where we get to blame ourselves for doing something wrong, and we just have to look at what was it we did. And it's always so small and so simple. And we don't have to change it, we just have to stop it. So yeah, customers want to pay you because they don't want to take advantage of your knowledge. So they actually really want to. They don't want something for free. You think of all the times where you like getting stuff for free, but you think of it and go, I would have paid for that though. Yeah, you would have. All right. Excellent. Tanya, what's your take home?
Epic class, great conversation. Take home is it's an ad. I put out an ad, and
Yeah.
I never made that connection at all. You know, so that, and then all the many scenarios that you spoke through, like just this last one with Erica, also the conversation around, you know, the curious to committed conversation. It's a strategy call. There's a fee for that, and it's the customer self themselves in that they decide what they want to do next, and I get to also in that action know what they really want.
Yeah. I've written posts on it. The $25 is a great leveler. Everybody thinks they're coachable until I offer help for $25. And they go, no. I mean, what sort of help am I getting for $25? Then you're not coachable. Right? I just went and saw JT Fox. JT Fox is a big one for, if you want to earn, Tanya and I were both there, you want to earn $1 million, then you need to have a coach that earns more than $1 million in order for you to do it, right? JT Fox considers himself very coachable. What I really wanted to ask him, but I didn't think that he was of the person that would listen to someone who has less than $1 million in their bank account, is, would you take information or would you get help from someone who earns less than $1 million? Tanya, what do you reckon his answer would be? No, which makes him not coachable. I don't think he would ever. And yet, here's the ironic part, is if he picked up a book and read it, book for $25, he'd probably get one really good piece of information and turn it into, $2 million. So he would take a book and be coached through a book for $25, but he won't take the same information from a person for $25 because you have less money than me. See, that's why 25 is something low is such a great leveler, because it really tells you where you sit in the pool of data, right? And the information that you're after. And the ironic thing is most people will take free. You go to YouTube, get the information for free, but at $25, something that's so simple that's hard to say no to, that when they say no, it's because they don't want it. And now you know, and that's great because you've just fixed a person. It's great. Such a good feeling when you know you fixed someone. Roger, what's your take home?
Number one, do the follow-ups quickly. Don't wait.
Yeah.
That was in the book. But the other thing is to read your books.
Yeah.
Really, really read them.
Yeah, the answers are in the notes, right?
Yes.
The answers are in the notes. Exactly. Erica, you'll end up getting these. So yeah, chapter 5 is, follow up in less than 24 hours. But it's how he followed up. He didn't say, how'd you go with my quote? He said, how did you go with finding someone to paint your house? It was all about the customer, not him wanting the sale. Yeah. Yeah. And so there's a way to follow up, and it's not the way that's allowed to happen. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah. Barbara, what's your take home today? Oh, you're on mute.
I heard a few times about JT Fox. I went to see him 5 years ago. The first 2 hours he spent to get people that went there without knowing what they came for to leave the room so he can talk to everybody else. He's very intentional. And what I got from this class is that your intention is very important, and we don't always know what our intention are. That's why we get lost in our own thoughts. Sales is about selling, buying is about buying, and we are somewhere in between, and we need to know what we want. I think that's what I got. There was a lot of other information, but it was a lot.
Excellent. Funny thing about JT Fox, Tanya and I were both there, right? He does all this training and we write notes, right? And we're writing notes and we're doing all this stuff. And then he spends an hour doing the sales process, but an hour to tell us what it is that he's selling. And he talks around and around and around. It took an hour for him to tell us the thing, what the actual thing was. But he told us he charged a lot of money and it's going to be this and it's going to be that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to take you here and I'm going to do all this stuff. And then he tells you what it is. It's like, oh my God, couldn't you have just told me what it was so that the rest of your talk would make sense? Like, yeah. And it's very old school way of how to do things. But seriously, nobody has that much time to just sit there and listen to someone waffle and never get to the point. Right? Which is probably partly why, Tanya, he turned around and he said, this is the last time I'm going to do this live, actually. He was a bit grumpy about it. It took forever to get nowhere. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming to class today. We're going to keep doing elevator pitches. We're going to track through little pieces at a time with the elevator pitch and pull the whole thing apart. So this is really just the overview. The take home is that it's just an ad. It's not a sales pitch. It's just an ad, right? And from an ad, you can end up with sales.